Hey guys, I'm going to show you how to maybe make um, an image, a photographic image, look sort of like a cartoon just using filters in Photoshop. It's not going to be a perfect cartoon, but what I'm going to do, this is a picture of my daughter taken, I don't know, a little over a month ago. And I'm going to go ahead and just get a copy of this so that it's only her on the layer. And maybe clean this up just a little bit. So you can get any of these little flyaways. Okay, that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. Photoshop's so good at getting like flyaway hair and stuff with this refine edge thing. Okay, so I'm just going to actually say new layer. Okay, so here I have a version of this on a new layer, and I'll show you a bunch of different filters that might work. So I'll just say Command J, make a bunch of copies of these so you can see. Okay, I know this isn't perfect, it's already kind of creating a line, but we're just going to use it. So filter, the first ones that I would recommend trying are in the artistic area, and let me go ahead and zoom out so you can see the whole thing. In artistic, there's one called cutout, which sort of posterizes the image. This is not, I don't think, the best one, but you'll see it kind of simplifies the colors. And you can say how simple do you want the edges? How much do you want Photoshop to stay true to the edges or not? So see, it gets a little more geometric as we go. So this is kind of one way of simplifying an image so it starts to look a little bit cartoony. Right? The more levels you have, the less cartoony it looks. So I might just leave this with three levels. Okay. So that's for this first one. So I'll say this was cut out, so we can compare these at the end. Okay. The next one, which is also in artistic, is called poster edges. And again, let me zoom out. And you'll see this is adding a lot of kind of black line detail. You can make the edges really thick. You can make them intense. Right? And you can also say how many colors are in here. So if I lower that in posterization, then it's kind of looking a little more cartoony, and then it's got this real kind of graphic pen sort of detail. Okay, so I'll say this one's poster edges. So this is without any skill on my part, I'm just using the filters in Photoshop. Filter gallery. Okay, the other area that I recommend looking in are the sketch filters. Okay, and so for this, a bunch of these might work. One's graphic pen, and it's using my foreground and background colors often in the sketch area, so I have black and white. And the nice thing about using black and white is that I could later, well, this actually looks pretty good as is, but if I use this, I could later put it over itself like this. The top one I could say multiply, and then I could start painting in it. You probably remember that from previous demos. So you can do something like this with any of your sketches, or like any of your sketch filters, right? So I'm just going to combine these two, and I'll just group them. And I think this one was graphic pen, so we'll be able to compare it with the other ones. Okay, let's go to the next one. Make sure I'm back on black and white. Let's go back to filter, filter gallery, and now instead of graphic pen, the other ones that worked well were photocopy I'll zoom out. Same thing, you're just kind of getting, you'd have to color this, but you're getting kind of line detail. So you could say, how dark do you want that detail? How much detail do you want? And with this one, you know, you might even go in and erase out some of the tone. But I'm just going to show you this in general right now, and then you could decide on your own. And the reason we would even apply some of these is if we wanted to make our photographic image look a little more similar to some cartoon-like images we have on our page. So let's see, what was this one? Was this photocopy, I think? Okay. Next one. Filter gallery, and stamp. Also doing this just on black and white. So again, how much dark, how smooth, right? So how much detail do you want? And again, you'd be coloring this on your own. Okay, so this one's stamp. And filter gallery. And torn edges was another one. So again, you can kind of play with these sliders to get how smooth you want this or not. How much information, and it's using kind of the tonal information in this. How much contrast. So the goal is to kind of simplify this to make it look sort of like a cartoon. I think that was perhaps it. Yep, that was all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those were all the filters that I came up with that could work. So here's again what they look like, okay? Cut out, poster edges, graphic pen, and you know, your coloring will make this look good or not. I just gotta touch up that shirt. And all the sketch filters, if you use them, you'll want to go in and color yourself. So again, I just made a copy of the layer, and then the top one, put it on multiply blend mode. Right, so here we go, photocopy, stamp, oops, and this one's actually torn edges. Right, so it's not perfect, doesn't look like a cartoon you would draw, but it kind of helps you if you're in a bind. The other thing you could of course do is like maybe, thinking of a good way, an easy way to do it. I mean, you could actually get tracing paper and your actual photo and just trace the drawing, right, and then scan it in or something. But that would be more time intensive. Or if you guys are familiar with Illustrator, you could work more with drawing in Illustrator using the pen tool, but I know we didn't work a ton with that in this class. So these are kind of quick ways to simplify your image and get it to look a little more cartoony.